Ants are all around us, but how often do we consider what they're actually doing? When you upset an ant, why do the rest come running at you? How is it possible that ants kill more animals every year than lions, tigers, and bears combined? Oh my. These ant colonies are extremely complex, with groups of ants having different roles to fulfill and support the system as a whole. But how does this work? How do the ants communicate with each other to run such a complex system? The answer lies in pheromones, or chemicals released by the ant as they travel around. Scientists have discovered over 20 different types of pheromones that convey different types of signals as ants release them. Some of these work by releasing a trail, touching the abdomen to the ground as they walk, where other ants can follow this trail to a food source or stay away from a trail marked with a signal meaning a predator is nearby. Other chemicals can be released directly outward into the air from the ant, alerting any other ants nearby of the urgent signal being communicated instantly. Ants receive these signals using their antennae, acting almost like a nose following an identified scent. The antennae move differently depending on what they're doing. They move outward when ants are exploring a new area, inward when following a path, and otherwise when communicating through physical signals to other ants. Ants have relatively good eyesight, but their other senses, like sound, aren't as strong. Using complex combinations of these pheromones along with physical gestures, ants have created their own language in a way. This is how ants are able to operate in such efficient, complicated systems, almost similar to human societies. Ants divide themselves into different castes or roles to fulfill within their colony to work effectively as a whole. They differentiate in size through varied gene expression and the amount that they eat, which then assists them in their roles, a phenomenon called polymorphism. The biggest ants are soldiers that defend the colony. The medium-sized workers collect leaves, dig tunnels, or pick up garbage. The smallest workers raise the young and cultivate any other resources needed for food to support the colony. These roles are predetermined by the queen, who births the whole colony. These worker ants don't reproduce and live solely to fulfill their role. When the queen decides the colony has grown too large, she births reproductive males and females instead of workers. These ants produce the next generation of queen ants, those of which that survive go on to form their own new colonies. When the queen of a colony dies, the rest of them simply have no purpose and act aimlessly until they themselves die. Recent studies have found that ants only use a small part of their brain to interpret these complex pheromone signals instantly. This is different than bees and other insects that use nearly their entire brain to interpret even the simplest of pheromone signals. The complex behavior of ants should be the result of more brain activity than what scientists can recognize. Since the ants of a colony all have the same genetic blueprint, scientists now are separating the ants by their different roles or castes and genders to see how their brain activity differentiates. So the next time you see an ant, maybe don't step on it because the colony could be after you soon. Perhaps instead, take the time to observe what they're doing and how beautifully complex everything in nature is all around us, even the smallest of insects that we barely notice.